Welcome, friends. Are you ready for another crochet project inspired by Taylor Swift's dress? Well, here it is. It's a flower pot cover. This is how I made mine. Yours will vary according to the size pot you have. Pause the video to follow my pattern. I'm using a flower pot I got from the Dollar Tree, but this will work for any pot size. Just trace around the bottom of the base of your pot. I used a size 5mm hook, but you can use a smaller hook if you have a smaller pot. I left a small opening at the bottom of my cover, but you can make yours closed if you prefer. So at this particular point, we're at row 3, and I'm not going to go explaining stitch by stitch, but you can, pause and read along. And here I am going to just compare it to my outline of my base, and it is perfect. But I would have gone over the size had it not been perfect instead of smaller. So as we begin the rounds of the sides, I am going to be referring to this one as round 1. So don't get confused, please. From here on out, we're not going to make any increases or any decreases, but the only way that we will make it larger if we needed to or smaller is by changing the amount of chains in between the granny square clusters. This first round, we are doing 3 double crochets, chain 1, skip a stitch, 3 double crochets, so on and so on. Now for the first one, we're going to do a chain 3 and then 2 double crochets, because that chain 3 counts as your first double crochet stitch. But see how it starts going up, because we're only working in the back loops only now. Okay, now we're going to close this up, and now we're going to start our granny stitches. And I'm sure you know how to do that. Okay, so now we ended up over a stitch, and we want to work our granny stitches in the chain spaces between the clusters. So we slip stitch all the way over to a chain space. I call that sneaking over, and I do it on the back loop only just to make it a little invisible. And we always start with chain 3, and that acts as our first double crochet. Now, I don't quite remember, but I know on this round I did have 2 chains in between each granny cluster. And at some point, I think I changed it to no chains in between, because it was just a little too loose. So I have that noted in the next screen when it changes about loosening and tightening up if you need to. Now we're closing off the round, and we're going to have to, what am I going to do here? Oh yeah, test fitting. And this is what I do periodically as I'm working my way up. It's looking good, looking good. Now I'm going to demonstrate how I close off my round and start to weave in my ends. And this will give you a somewhat seamless stitch. And if you do it properly. I don't always do it properly, but you can almost never tell where you left off. Also, I didn't show in here that I made one or two more rounds of this particular color. But you do it in any color you want, or however many rounds you want of one particular color. But this is what I did, and you'll get to see it, and you can count on your own as to how many rounds I did of each color. I would always recommend weaving in your ends as you go, or else you will be miserable at the end trying to weave all of these in just when you thought you were finished. And there's nothing more miserable than that. Okay, so now I'm going to do another quick little fit, and you can see that I had multiple rows there. Nice. Okay, look, I added some brown, doing another fitting. Let's see how that fits in there. Looking good, looking good. Adding, oh, look at that, like magic. And then I added a half double crochet border around the top. I mean, you can do whatever you want, but this is what I decided to do. Here we go. Now just to cut it and tie off and weave in this last little end before I do something fun. Snip, snip. Okay. Let's see what it looks like. I like that. Now for a little surprise I made to match Taylor Swift's shoes. It's not the exact yellow, but it's what I chose, and I like it in little granny squares. Thank you for watching. See y'all next time. Bye.